starting from the days of the Acephalous societies, where governance rested on the shoulders of tribal leaders before the advent of the Europeans, through when the Europeans settled in our land and started trading with us, to colonization, the struggle for independence, the attainment of independence, and the parliamentary life in the various republics thereafter, with a focus on the Fourth Republic. Various artifacts, including gowns, wigs, hats, press curtains, and other printed materials, along with infographics, have been collected for the purpose and displayed within the space. The Speaker, various stories and biographies germane to the rich history of Ghanaian politics have also been compiled and QR coded to enhance patrons' experience at the museum. Head and shoulder portraits of speakers of all the legislatures of the Gold Coast and later Ghana have also been ordered, and a few of them that have been delivered have been displayed in the space, waiting for the rest to also go into the space. The remaining will be displayed as soon as they are received. Mr. Speaker, I must place on record that your committee worked beyond themselves, attending countless number of meetings and workshops for long hours and sometimes at very odd times. Speaker, I would also like to place on record that no member of the committee received, requested, or expected any payment of allowance for the 2 years that the committee worked, with the exception of a few out-of-station allowances that were paid to the committee whenever we had the need to attend the workshop. And those were not more than 4 over the 2-year period. On this note, Mr. Speaker, permit me to call out my other illustrious members of the committee to be recognized, Mr. Speaker. So, no special order, I call on Mr. Prosper Huetu. I think they are up there in the space. And then Mr. Frank Boris Hemans, our archivist. Then we have Mr. Xavier Sefapo Kodo. We have Dr. John Abrebese Boatin, Mr. Leslie Lloyd. The committee further salutes the Executive Director of the Ghana Museums and Monuments Board, Mr. Kingsley Ofosu Ntiamwa, and the scenographer, Mr. Atu Annan, for their immense technical support to the work. The Speaker would not have had the opportunity to do all this if Mr. Speaker had not dreamt about it and had not supported us in all possible ways. Your encouragement, Mr. Speaker, whenever we reported to you on the progress of work, and your confidence in us prodded us on. For this, Mr. Speaker, we say we are eternally grateful. In conclusion, I would like to use this opportunity to appeal to all individuals who may have in their possession relics that may be useful for the museum to bring them to us or to call us to come for them, and we process them. And whenever there's a need for us to review the exhibition, we will have them displayed at the space. With this, I want to thank you for the audience. Thank you.
A round of applause for Mr. Kwame Echampon. Another round of applause, please. Done a great job. Ladies and Gentlemen, we have an exciting and meaningful program lineup for you this morning, including insightful speeches, a guided tour, and the ribbon cutting ceremony here after the program. I would like to introduce our management and senior members of staff of Parliament here present with us. We have the Deputy Clerk, Mr. Camilo Kwaman, Deputy Clerk, Mrs. Gloria Saku Kumawu. We have Assistant Deputy Clerks, Ms. Evelyn Brefo Boating, Mr. Inusa, Alaji Baba Inusa. We have Mrs. Rosemary Arthur, Assistant Deputy Clerk. We have directors, management, staff here present. You are all most welcome. Now is the turn of the remarks by Executive Director of Ghana Museums and Monument Boards, Mr. Kingsley Ofosu Intiaba, to give us his remarks. You're welcome.
Thank you, Margaret. Right Honorable Speaker, permit me to stand on the existing protocols to give my remarks. Today, I stand before you with immense pride as we inaugurate this extraordinary museum dedicated to Ghana's political and legislative heritage. This museum is merely a collection of artifacts. It is a celebration of our identity and a chronicle of our struggles and testament to our nation's journey towards democracy and governance. Ghana's history is a narrative of resilience, determination, and a relentless pursuit of self-rule. From the trials of colonialism to the triumph of independence and the establishment of democratic institutions, our political and legislative journey embodies the dreams of generations who envisioned a brighter future. Mr. Speaker, this museum will serve as a living archive, preserving the documentary heritage, artifacts, and stories that have shaped our national identity. It will provide a space for students, researchers, and citizens to explore the lives of the visionaries and lawmakers whose decisions have steered our nation's course. Among its exhibits, this unique museum will highlight transformative moments such as the adoption of the 1992 Constitution, the evolution of our parliamentary system, the leadership of historic figures like Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and others who champions of Ghana's independence. These stories remind us of the enduring importance of our democracy, human rights, and the rule of law in building a strong and united nation. As we celebrate this momentous occasion, I commend Mr. Speaker and everyone who contributed to the establishment of this museum, the historians, the architects, curators, and supporters whose dedication brought this vision to life. I also assure Mr. Speaker of Ghana Museum and Monuments' unwavering support and partnership in the effective operationalization of this museum. May this museum serve as a source of knowledge, pride, inspiration for generations to come. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Ntiama. We'll now have a musical interlude from the Voices of Democracy, the Evergreen, I call them.
Once again, let's give it to them. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, the man who has made it all possible. Since I joined Parliament not long ago, every time I've had the opportunity to sit under his feet and listen to him, it's nothing but a refreshing memory of the past. Ladies and gentlemen, this man I am about to introduce has a lot working for him. He is the man of the moment. You didn't hear me. He is the man of the moment. Only last week, he was awarded the enviable record of being the first chartered historian in the Republic of Ghana. He's the first, there's nobody else. He's the first chartered historian we have. Ladies and gentlemen, in all humility, let us all rise as we invite the Right Honorable Speaker of the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, the Right Honorable Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagwing, with a big round of applause.
Thank you so much. I hope I'm heard. Yes. Please kindly be seated. I'm actually not a chartered historian. The chartered historian is right in front of me. My Chief of Staff, Honorable Kofi Atto, is a chartered historian. I am unchartered. Let's once again applaud the sweet voices of democracy. I'm extremely grateful for your presence, and I want, with your kind indulgence, to acknowledge the presence of everybody here. You all matter to us. You are all distinguished personalities, and together we work to develop Ghana and the world. I want, before I continue, to convey to you the apologies of the leadership and the members of parliament here. As you know, today is going to signal the end of the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic of Ghana. And the caucuses are having their usual meetings to try to ensure that we have a smooth and harmonious transition from the 8th Parliament to the 9th Parliament. And so they are over there now, and they took a bit of my time, which is what led to the late start of this whole ceremony. And so, on behalf of the leaders and members of parliament, I sincerely apologize to all of you for keeping you waiting, and we are extremely grateful for your patience and tolerance. With this, let me acknowledge the presence of my seniors. We have, as we've been told, our mother, the Speaker of the 6th Parliament, 5th Parliament, 5th Parliament of the 4th Republic, my Lord, Right Honorable Justice Adley Bamford Adu. I serve as a majority leader on the head, and it was a very, very important period for me, because I learned how to temper my vibrancy with her coolness as a very astute judge of the Supreme Court. And she treated me a lot, and I took her as one of my role models. Before the Right Honorable Aaron Michael Quay, the professor himself, who took me in my early days as a very young MP as one of our resource persons in our workshops on democracy, parliamentary practice and procedures. And so I wasn't surprised that he rose up to become the Speaker of the Parliament of Ghana, and that is the 7th Parliament of the 4th Republic of Ghana. We are greatly honored with your presence here, and I must thank you for the value addition to my life. We have, as we've been told, the acting clerk. He's not a new face. In fact, people refer to him as the face of Parliament, because he's been the head of the table office for a long time. And so anytime people tune into the Parliament of Ghana, he is seated there as the head of the table office. Mr. Ebenezer Ahuma Jetro is a reverend, and so he likes preaching, and I think it's now part of his passion. So we are grateful for the message, and what I'm simply going to do is just to emphasize some of the points they raised in their submissions, and maybe add a bit of history to it as a student of history. After that, I'll ask some questions so that those who can tell me the meaning of Vasco da Gama, I'll give the person a prize. Vasco da Gama, particularly the meaning of da Gama. This one you should know, very simple. So let me thank you for making time to join us to commission the museum here in Parliament. As we gather today on this momentous occasion, we stand at the confluence of our nation's rich history and the vibrant future of our democracy. The commissioning of this museum presents us as a nation a unique opportunity to not only celebrate our past, but also envision the role of history in shaping our democratic journey. This museum stands as a testament to not only to the pillars of democracy that support our way of governance, but also to the enduring spirit of Ghanaian tradition and identity forged through ages past. In the words of Robert Hesslin, an American author, a generation which ignores history has no past and no future. This underscores the importance of history in our life. Our own Nelson Mandela tells us that our rich and varied cultural heritage has a profound power to help build our nation. And so our history, though turbulent, is a very rich one which we must preserve and promote for the benefit of the younger generation and those yet unborn. The youth and prosperity must appreciate where we have come from as a nation. This will serve as a useful lesson to avoid the mistakes of the past. The trajectory of our political history derives its source from how our society was organized prior to the arrival of the European explorers and traders, who named our land Gold Coast. And that is a translation into English. The Portuguese did not call us Gold Coast. They call us by the name what land? Who can tell me? This is how important history is. Del Minan. And the first people arrived as Shama in 1471. And so you can see the cross there at Shama. The trajectory of our political history, as I said, derives its source from our society, which was organized prior to the arrival of the European explorers and traders who named our land the Gold Coast del Minan. This was followed by centuries of the despicable transatlantic slave trade through to the era of colonial rule. The resilience of our forefathers and their determination to reclaim self-rule led to a series of agitations and reactions that culminated in our political independence in 1957. Our beloved country finally attained republican status in 1960. The struggle did not end there. The country was yet to grapple with a series of coups that toppled the first, second, and third republics until the country's eventual return to constitutional rule in 1993. We don't need any evidence to tell us that what concerns us must be decided by us all. One of the main reasons why the 1992 Constitution stayed up to date is because it was the decision of all of us, not by any group in the society. Everybody matters in life. And we all drafted it together, and we all took the decision in the referendum, and we all felt that we are part and parcel of that document, and so we all decided to obey it. And that is how come, and that I said, one of the reasons why we are broken the jinx, and we've been along this path for 32 good years now. Throughout these periods, Parliament has had its own unique history. The struggle for legislative inclusion and participation in governance dates as far back as the pre-colonial and the colonial era, when leading citizens of the Gold Coast agitated and demanded for the colonial government to allow for citizens' representation in decision-making processes. The Legislative Council was first established in the Gold Coast in 1866 to advise the colonial administration on enacting laws. It was, however, not until the 1888 that the first African unofficial member, John Saba, was nominated to the council. Don't forget that John Mensah Saba was the first full-blooded Ghanaian to be called to the bar in 1887 as a lawyer. But before that, there was one Ribelo who was called to the bar in 1883. But his background was Portuguese, Brazil, and Gold Coast. The two